I start my West London walk today at Shepherd's Bush London Overground station, which opened in 2008 to serve the country's largest shopping centre, Westfield. The sign here says Westfield London. There are two of them, so should it be more specific and say Westfield White City, so as to not get confused with Westfield Stratford, which is on the same line. Anyways, there used to be another station on this site called Uxbridge Road from 1869 to 1940, and this one is one of 5 different Shepherd's Bush stations which have existed over time. You have the Underground station across the road, which was the original terminus of the Central line in 1900. There was another Shepherd's Bush station on a curve of track between Olympia and Hammersmith that opened at the same time as Uxbridge Road, but closed in 1916. Nothing left to see of that curve of track now. There was another underground station on the Hammersmith and City route, which was the original, opening in 1864, but in 1914 was replaced by 2 stations on either side of it, Goldhawk Road and Shepherd's Bush again. But that one, same time in 2008, was renamed to Shepherd's Bush Market. So I am starting my walk today by passing through Westfield Shopping Centre, and it does look like the largest one from this angle, doesn't it? I wonder how long it would take until security stopped me filming in here. So I am going to be leaving Westfield by coming out into White City's bus station, where you can see the original power station for the Central line, the Central London Railway as it was known. Ironically, the closest station to White City bus station is Wood Lane, which similarly to Shepherd's Bush Overground reopened in 2008 on the site of an old station. It first opened 100 years earlier in 1908 when the first London Olympics was here, but closed in 1914. It reopened in 1920 as Wood Lane White City, then renamed to just White City in 1947 before closing in 1959. Now similarly, in 1908, to serve the Olympics, the Central line was extended 1 stop to another station called Wood Lane. The area wasn't known as White City until after the Olympics. This was a single platform station on a loop where trains would serve it and head back to Shepherd's Bush, but it closed in 1947 when White City station replaced it when the line was extended out west. And because of the curve that was left in place, the spur of track coming off of it would mean that trains at White City run on the wrong side. It's the only above ground station where trains run on the right. There's a neat little bit of heritage at the new Wood Lane station on the Hammersmith and City line, because it has a mosaic roundel from the original Central line Wood Lane station. Tried to get a shot of it on the other side of the barriers. It didn't really come out that well. So the Hammersmith and City line had a White City station and the Central line had a Wood Lane station, but now the Central line has a White City station and the Hammersmith and City line has a Wood Lane station. Yeah, this and Shepherd's Bush, this is definitely one of the most confusing railway histories in London. That's not even mentioning a plan in the 1970s for trains that used the Channel Tunnel to terminate here. And just before we leave this area behind, if we've got 2 Westfield shopping centres at 2 previous London Olympic locations, that just means we need a Wembley one now. Will Croydon ever get theirs? In between Wood Lane and White City stations, you have the Television Centre, headquarters of the BBC from 1960 to 2013. It's all been moved over to Broadcasting House near Oxford Circus now. Right, let's actually start our walk now, heading off underneath the Westway. So our first green space of the day is Kensington Memorial Park, which is a little ways out of the way, but I wanted to include it anyways. This is a neat old building, Pall Mall Deposit. I saw it as I was crossing the road. I thought I'd walk up and take a closer look. So what I've really come out here today to focus on is Wormwood Scrubs, or Little Wormwood Scrubs here to start off with. Seems the Counters Creek used to flow through here. That's a lost river of London. So I'm taking a nice stroll around the park here, which seems to sit right behind the expansive Old Oak Common rail depot here. So I've just had a notification pop up on my phone saying sign in to GWR Wi-Fi. It's quite funny, I'm in the middle of a park, I can connect to a train's Wi-Fi. So I've crossed over into the actual Wormwood Scrubs now. The reason why the little park exists is because when the railway line came through, it dissected it. And what we're going to do is walk along the southern edge of it. I am going to leave it to go and have a look at the prison and Hammersmith Hospital, but then we'll rejoin it up on the northern side and walk back across later. So there's quite a strange mix of things on the southern fringe of Wormwood Scrubs here. You have the local Linford Christie Stadium, you have grounds here which just look like they're about to be redeveloped. You have a couple of horses in there, and then there's disused porter cabins over there. What's all that about? So we'll focus more on the park later. As I said, I'm leaving on the south side of it by the hospital and Wormwood Scrubs prison here, which is quite infamous. It's been a lot of media. I do recognise it from images that I saw before coming out today. Filming this from the back because I feel like once I get round to the front, they're probably not going to like me filming at the entrance. So there's the fantastic Hammersmith Hospital building, which ironically is not the closest hospital to Hammersmith. We were there and saw Charing Cross Hospital. They never seem to be named directly after the places that they're in. I mean, there's 3 Middlesex hospitals in London. Middlesex is not a thing anymore. Anyways, I've come here because I want to take this footbridge quickly. Because trains are on the wrong side when they surface at White City, this is where the Central Line tracks cross over to be on the correct side. You can see it happen out in the open on this footbridge here. I've never seen them actually remove a car before. I remember seeing these disused buildings before from a Central Line train. I'm actually walking alongside the tracks now, past the prison to East Acton station. So there was indeed a sign at the entrance to the prison saying photography prohibited. I've now made it up to the sleepy East Acton station though, especially compared to White City one stop down the line, where there was a lot of people going to Queen's Park Rangers for the football. So I actually remember walking through the suburban streets from the tube station to the bus terminus here. I've mentioned in a couple of videos how I'm currently trying to get a photo of every route. I was actually doing a mad dash around Shepherd's Bush earlier trying to get the ones I was missing. But the intention, once the collection is complete, is post a photo of one every single day with a little bit of history and my own personal experience of riding all of the routes. And just so I'm not rushing trying to write out something every day for every post, I've already started doing that. I've talked about Route 7 recently, which comes here to East Acton. I've talked about the 31, which terminates at White City, and it's been quite nice to kind of relive their memories. So I am just going to make sure I get a photo of these couple of buses here before I go. So I am back now on Wormwood Scrubs, cutting right across it. It's quite cold with the wind today, but at least it's another nice sunny day. I do feel like Scrubs is a good term for the area I'm passing through. I'm rather enjoying walking through here. I've seemed to trap myself in here though. I don't know how I've done this. I can see benches on the other side of these bushes, but there's no way to access it. See, I thought it would be kind of a big open heathland, but no, I'm quite surprised by all this. I'm gonna have to backtrack and go around. Aha, here we go. Now I've made it out onto the actual common. This is what I expected it to be. Didn't know there would be so much shrubbery around. I really quite like walking through here. Get great views towards the new developments around Acton in that direction. New developments over there as well, but also I can make out the Shard, also the brutalist Trellick Tower, some of the new buildings around the Shepherd's Bush area. I could even spot Grenfell Tower there, tragically. This is the largest park in London I've not visited before. I don't know why I've never given it the time of day. This is great to walk across. So I've come up to the very northern edge of the Scrubs, where yet again you get a great look in to the Old Oak Common rail depot here. That's how expansive it is. It's always great when you get to tick off another chunk of London you've not visited before. Really enjoyed walking through Wormwood Scrubs. So I know we had all the complicated railway history this morning. I'm just going to add to that slightly though, because this is the London Overground route to Shepherd's Bush. The Uxbridge Road station, as I said, closed in 1940, but there used to be another station along here called St Quintin Park and Wormwood Scrubs, which closed at the same time. But they are looking to bring back a station near to the site of this old one. First of all, there's a lot of new developments around here which the new station would serve, but also because Old Oak Common station is currently being constructed just over there, the massive HS2 station just along the brilliant Grand Union Canal Paddington arm here. And at a later date there will be stations on the London Overground that will provide a sort of connection to it. So I've come into Kensal Green Cemetery now, which is one of the magnificent 7 from the Victorian era. I've been to all 7, but this is only the 4th one I've been to on video. I've been in this cemetery once before, about 4 years ago now. I remember the grandeur of this building here. I always love the peace and quiet that you get when you come into places like this. Well, except when a train passes through on the main line. Recently we were in Rotherhithe and we came across the Brunel Museum, dedicated to Mark Isambard Brunel and Isambard Kingdom Brunel, who helped design the Thames Tunnel, the first under a navigable river anywhere in the world. It's now used by the London Overground. I've always called it as the birthplace of the tube, and here in Kensal Green Cemetery I've come across the Brunel family tomb here. I really wanted to do a West London walk today. I was thinking of one in West Drayton, I was thinking of one in Pinner, but when I was in Elton Park on my last walk, I thought of this one. It came to my mind and I decided, yes, that's the one I want to do. It's just not as West London as the others. So I've left the cemetery now and I'm crossing over the Grand Union Canal again. It's a curious old water tower here. Now for the last section of my walk I'm just going to pass through some local parks which probably won't be of much interest, like Queen's Park Gardens. I did get to be beside the canal briefly though, just not on the towpath side on the walk here. Just across the South Kilburn open space where there was something here of interest to me. A disused estate building, Wordsworth House. Huh, this is intriguing. I've come across the terminating bus stand here for 228 and 414. The 414 got cut back from this destination a few years ago to Marble Arch, and in fact doesn't run at all anymore. It's been completely withdrawn. So it's interesting, it's still on this bus stand here. Well, this is something of note. BBC Maida Vale Studios. I think it's rather fitting that near the beginning of this walk we came across the television centre in White City, and now near the end of it we come across their studios. I think right now though it's mostly being vacated as they are heading out to the Olympic Park soon. Our last green space of the day is Paddington Recreation Ground, which is much bigger than some of the other local parks we've just come across. It's also notable in the fact that it was the first of its kind in London, this recreation ground opening in 1888. And so I end today's walk at Kilburn Park station on the Bakerloo line, which I think might just be my favourite station building on the whole network. I just love how grand and ornate it is, sitting here proudly all by itself. It's just a really impressive one. It's an evolution of the iconic station buildings you see across the network, designed by Leslie Green. This one was designed by Stanley Heaps. So thank you for coming along with me on that West London walk today. I did actually just go up and have a look at the Tin Tabernacle, rather intriguing little church just up by the station, and I made sure to get a photo of the 32 which terminates outside. And so I leave you at a contender for maybe my favourite station on the tube. This is how little I go on the Bakerloo line. I've not been on one since they've had the wheelchair accessible spaces added. I really like these trains. The oldest passenger trains in the UK. It's very nice to be on the walk with the tube now to head home.